Hello and welcome to a little piece of promised land. Today we're going to try to answer the question of why our quail are not laying yet. A little bit of history. We hatched our quail last September, but we still haven't gotten any eggs from them. Now, for those who don't know, quail generally lay eggs after about 8 weeks. But for us, 8 weeks brought us into November. And we figured that it was just because we had a north-facing coop and there wasn't enough sunlight hours for us to get eggs. So we waited until we had enough sunlight hours and we still haven't received any eggs. For a quail to lay eggs, she needs 3 things: adequate light, a safe environment, and high-quality food. First, let's talk about the safe environment. We chose our original coop location because we wanted to have a ground run for our quail. But that means that we have to protect them from flooding and from predators. The first line of defense in any coop is the floor. So for our floor, we knew that we had to protect against snakes.
Israel is home to 7 venomous snakes. That's 7 snakes in addition to the non-venomous snakes that are dangerous to us and our birds.
The most problematic snake for an urban farmer in Israel is the Israeli mole viper. This snake comes with an entire arsenal of weapons. First, its poison is deadly enough to drop a human, but humans can't even get them out of their coop because it comes with a second set of fangs on the outside of its mouth. So if you try to pick it up, you'll get stung as well. So what normally happens is if you find one in your coop, you have to call the authorities who are better equipped and can come to your house and safely dispose of this animal. In the meantime, you're watching the snake feast on your entire coop's occupants. These snakes aren't afraid of people. They're not afraid of cats. They're not afraid of predator birds. These snakes will walk right into a pizzeria in the middle of lunch hour and act like they own the place. So to protect our coop from snakes, we put down a layer of hard wire cloth, and then we have a 2x4 base that is then filled in with a 2-inch layer of sand and then a 2-inch layer of gravel. Now, the gravel and sand is more for flood protection, but it also gives an extra barrier that the snakes can't tunnel into the coop from below. With this nice foundation, it means that the coop is slightly raised around the surrounding area, with the idea that water runs downhill. So if we get a lot of rain, it should slosh off into the yard and not stay in the coop. To protect against the next predator that we're more worried about, the cats. The walls are enclosed with hardware cloth all the way around and across the ceiling. In Israel, we have a ton of cats. They're everywhere. They get into everything. They eat anything and everything. Your garbage, litter, your animals, other cats. So we found that the walls keep the cats out of the coop, but it doesn't stop the cats from stalking the birds from outside of the coop, which does produce stress for the birds. An important part of creating a safe environment is that we live in USDA Zone 11B. This means that our winters are extremely mild. We generally do not get a frost. In fact, our last frost date was in 2015. What does this mean? It means that we can get a frost. It can happen, but generally it doesn't. The more important indicator for our environment and creating a safe place for our animals is the heat index. The heat index was started by the American Horticulture Society to measure how many days a year a certain area has temperatures over 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit. On that scale, Israel ranks an 8 or 9. Basically, because it's such a new index, we fall in between both of these two, and more time will be necessary for us to decide which one we'll actually fall into. But that basically means that we have 120 days of the year where the temperatures stay above 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a lot of heat that we have to make sure that our birds don't end up with heat stress. Because of our heat index rating, we built a north-facing coop, one that's also covered by trees on half of the run, so that the birds would have a nice shady spot to run to and relax in when it's too hot for them. But all that shade brings us to the second part of the triangle: adequate light. We have 8 hens. 4 of our hens we're going to move to an outdoor space that is south-facing, that gets full sun for most of the day. The other 4 hens will stay in their regular coop, that is the north-facing coop, that's in our backyard. So about this part of the video. This is not a build video. This coop will be made with purely repurposed materials that we have around the house. The birds will be there temporarily, and if this location does work out, then we will build a coop that is more suitable and more aesthetically pleasing for an urban farm. Or Daddy.
Ow! It pecked me.
They don't have a sharp beak. Wait till we get chickens when we actually move.
There's one to your left, just past the cinder blocks. Grab that one.
Just pick them up.
2 hands. Good job.
So now that our girls are tucked into our south-facing coop, we wait. Thank you for stopping by our little piece of promised land. If you liked this video, please let us know by pressing the like button. Remember to subscribe.
We hope to see you in the next video.